Hey, good day, friends. Another episode of the show. I'm Joe, and today, my guest today, I think he's the modern most interesting man. I'm just claiming that. The modern most interesting. He's been on television. He's run the largest nonprofit in rural Ohio City, shaped by he's reshaped post-secondary policy for an entire state. He led advancement in HBCU. And now, 16 months into his first campus presidency, Dr. Rick Smith Sr. is the president of Dallas College, North Lake. Rick, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Joe. You make me feel so cool. I'm like, hey, who's that guy? No, that sounds good. I appreciate it.
You are one of the coolest guys I've had a chance to meet. And all the cool guys that I met have not always been results focused as you've been as well. So we're gonna chop it up here
Let's
and
do it.
really just hear about some of the things that you've been up to. You
Sure.
16 months in, what's it actually like to be you in this role right now? I know it's commencement season. You're rolling from this to a number of very, very important events. Yeah, what's it like? What's
Oh,
it
I
like to
mean,
be
I,
you?
I tell you, I'm having a ball. I tell people all the time that they're so fortunate if they can find a job or a career that they would do for free. When the chancellor's around, I always say, "This is something I do for free, but I need my paycheck. So make sure you get that to me every month." But I enjoy what I'm doing.
I can tell.
I have something that I say whenever I speak publicly, and that is, it's all about the students,
Mm.
because it truly is for me. That is my passion. I was fortunate enough to have a career that took me, there were progressions. I had different careers at different times in my life, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. But
Well,
landing,
that's why I called you I think the modern most interesting man. I mean, the tension that I really wanna get into is just that.
okay,
You've seen the sector from various angles,
I
and I
have,
think that's the distinctive advantage that you have, broadcaster, nonprofit CEO,
sure,
state policy architect, HBCU advancement officer, now campus president in one of the most economically dynamic, really, corridors of the country. I mean,
right,
lucky you. Honestly, lucky
absolutely,
you. Most leaders see higher education kind of just one angle,
right,
right? Their whole career, but you've seen all of them. What
yeah.
does that tell you maybe about what you see that your peers aren't seeing today?
Well, I think because I've been there and I've done that. I've been in industry. I've been in television news. I was in, as you mentioned, nonprofit world as United Way president. I spent 23 years as a hospital executive. So I see things from the industry side, and I also see it from the post secondary side. And one of the things that I love about Dallas College is they're marrying the two.
Yeah.
They're really putting industry in the center of making decisions about how we design our curriculum, what courses we offer, how we present that, what barriers need to be removed so students can find a pathway. So the fact that I was, 10 years in television news, that really helped me be more comfortable speaking to people, doing things like this great podcast of yours, what I'm about to do here in a few minutes and go speak to a group of students, communication students,
Yeah.
nonetheless. And we'll be talking about just that. How did one career prepare me for the next? So
I
it
Are they
does.
gonna have their critique sheets and give you feedback?
I hope not, because these
I'd
students
be
are pretty
nervous.
sharp. They keep me on my toes for sure. So when I'm talking about speaking in sound bites and projecting your voice, they'll be quick to say, "Well, Dr. Smith, you said so and so in your book," but so they keep me on my toes. I love it.
And that book, well, you've written a number of books, but the one that stands out for me is, I mean, that title just has a hook. Say it with your chest.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the book about, and where did that incredibly hooking title come from?
I love that book. I loved writing it. I love talking about it. Basically, it's called Say It With Your Chest, Your Presence is Your Power. Say it with your chest. Let me back up and give it a little origin of the title. Of course, comedian Kevin Hart made Say It With Your Chest, that quote, kind of a household term. If people see his stand up, he had a skit where he said, say it with your chest, and meaning, speak up, look someone in the eye.
Yeah.
But when most people heard that, they thought, "Oh, that's funny, that's cute," and they laugh because it is funny, it is cute. But for me, it took me back to my childhood.
Mm.
I'm the youngest of four boys. My father, Paul Smith, my mother, Mary Smith, they raised us. We were a military family. I was born overseas, lived all over the country, very much old school. So they were very much stern about speaking to people, if you didn't look someone in the eye, if you didn't, project your voice, or if I was slouching down when I was speaking to someone, my father would literally grab us up and say, "You better say it with your chest, speak up. They can't hear you." So when others heard that commentary, that comedic skit, it took me back to my childhood and made me think about the great upbringing that I had and how my parents helped put me on a path and my brothers on the right path, to present yourself and nonverbal communications, all those things, little lessons that I learned growing up. So basically, that's what the book is about. It's
Fantastic.
about, I started off with the little introduction as to how I came up with the title, a little bit about my background. Then it talks about nonverbal communication.
Mm.
It talks about, when you speak publicly, or even if you have to, a meeting, to take a minute. There's something called the doorway pause, to stop at the doorway, take a deep breath, gather yourself, visualize what you're about to do, then go through and deliver it like no other. So every time, you just never know who's watching. Again, before you walk into the room, before you say a word, they're already sizing you up. What are folks thinking about you? Well, your dress has something to do with it. Your voice has something to do with it.
So
How
powerful.
you present yourself.
So powerful, and, we'll get to where they can find all the goods,
You're
towards
absolutely.
it. You gotta stick around and keep listening here because we're gonna show you where you can find the goods, but, you're coming in, I mean, 16, 18 months into this new role,
Mhm,
uh, I say that the leader creates the culture.
mhm,
And it usually takes about 3 years for the leader to actually start to see their footprints across the campus. I think culture is something that edits in the right things that ought to be happening,
mhm.
but also ushers out the stuff that just doesn't work anymore. Where can you point to show that you are beginning to shift that culture? I know students are the center of everything. So how is that now becoming really the norm, the foundation for the work that you're doing on campus?
I think it's partly my visibility. When I was in healthcare, we went through some training that really taught us some things that should be common sense about, being present, the impact of a leader, this kind of rounding around the organization, and getting to know people, just speaking to them and being genuine. So that's something that I've carried with me throughout my career, certainly in healthcare, but now in higher education. I'm celebrating my 10th year in higher education. So don't do the math when I say 10 in TV news, 23 in healthcare, now 10 in higher ed. So yeah, I've been doing this kind of stuff for a while. But I that's something that I've taken throughout my career. And I think it's starting to make a difference. I try to be as present as I can to different types of activities, events, supporting our students, not only for if they have some type of award, something, but just being there with them. I'll show up at as many meetings as I can. I support our athletic departments. This
Mm.
weekend, we have a community day. We're honoring our sophomores. Of course, we're primarily community college. 2 years, so we have sophomores that are playing their last game. I sit on several chamber boards. So I've invited all my chamber friends. I've invited the community to come out and support our student athletes. So I guess to get back to the question, it says being present. I think it's really important for folks to see that, hey, you're in this with them, you support them, and I know you beyond just being the student. I know you beyond that. I mean, to the extent that people want to let me into a little bit of what keeps them going, so I have lots of students stopping by my office and saying, "Well, Dr. Schmidt, what do you think about so and so?"
Mm.
And I will never be one to say, "Hey, do this." What I do is I will talk with someone, I'll speak with them, and then oftentimes, as they're speaking, they're the one giving themselves the answer. I'm really just listening, and I may give some tips or advice of things along the way that has helped me. So I think that imprint, that impact on the campus is really starting to have some ripple effects, because I see that more so now. When I first started here, I would typically wear a suit appropriately, but I always wore tennis shoes. And people, I think when I first started, they said, "Wow, wow, why is he wearing tennis shoes?" Because I
I'm
moved around
curious,
sports.
did you have, like, "This is my brand" of tennis shoe as well?
Not quite. I have several different that I wear, but I guess my brand as an image as a leader here now, I'm the guy in the suit and tennis shoes because
Okay.
one, a kind of funny thing is like, if they're comfortable, so I wear them, and I do walk a lot because I anytime I have a couple of hours in between meetings, I will just walk around campus. My faculty now kind of are getting accustomed to the fact if their door is open, they may look up and I'm walking in saying, "Hey, how are you doing? What's going on? Can I help you with anything?" And same with our students. I'll go and I'll just sit down in the cafeteria and kind of hang out with our students. And it's much easier if I have my comfortable walking shoes on. Because again, if you did the math when I talked about my career, I'm no spring chicken, so I try to make it as easy on myself as possible.
I love it. I love suits and a tennis shoe.
That's my thing.
You can pull that off. You can
I
pull that off.
I
You
do it.
also pulled off, I mean, just designing economic partnerships at the state level in the various roles that you've had, and I know workforce is it's crucial,
Sure,
to the economic viability of the community that you live in. I mean, that's
absolutely.
the national narrative right now. That gap between designing a pipeline and actually putting a student to work inside one,
Mhm.
what are you about rebuilding right now in your own thinking to make that shift? I mean, there's a lot of ribbon cuttings and just celebratory things, and oftentimes it still leaves the student a little bit wandering and
Sure,
wondering.
sure.
What are you putting into play there that
Oh,
is really, really working well, boss?
that's the thing I think that I love about Dallas College. Our chancellor is Dr. Justin Lennon. So he started this with our trustees of implementing this workforce sector process, where each president is assigned a sector of work. Mine is construction. And we really get past the ribbon cuttings and the ceremonial things, but how can we really remove barriers for people to find a pathway to a meaningful paying job? Again, my focus again, construction. Each president has a different. We have aerospace and aviation. We have transportation and logistics. We have business and finance. We've got a number of different things, arts and entertainment, a number of manufacturing, a number of different sector areas that we focus on. Because some work before I got here was done to say, okay, what can Dallas College do to make the most meaningful impact on the on the economy of Greater Dallas? So those sectors were identified. So to get back to your question, what I'm finding is we're trying to uh, realize that right now, post-secondary education, college is kind of taken a bit of a hit. People think, well, I'm graduating and spending all this money, incurring what they call debt, I call investment,
Yeah.
to get a degree that sometimes I may graduate and not be able to go get a job. So what we're doing is we're really incorporating industry in the front seat of helping guide the path of our students who are pursuing whatever degree that they're seeking, such as getting real world experience. So not only are they going to school, they're working in the industry. They're getting internships, apprenticeships, any type of experiential learning opportunity. It could even be job shadowing. So they're seeing what the industry, what the job could be like before they graduate. And being in community college, we're getting folks early enough to know that, okay, maybe this is not meant for me. I'm not
Mm,
going to go
right, right.
through 4 years of college and then realize that, oh, I don't like this. So they're getting real world experience while they're in school. So all of us in our respective industries are working very hard to make sure that with our industry partners, we're giving our students that opportunity to see what it's like, kind of a test drive before you buy the car, if you will, before they complete. And many of our students, I say that I just used the analogy just a couple of days ago. It's kind of like a freeway. You can get on the freeway at a certain point and get off at any point. By that I mean our students can start and they can get a certification, say such as the HVAC certification in construction. For as little as 8 weeks, they can get maybe an OSHA 30 certification,
Sure.
and then they're immediately employable because they have that credential that says, "Hey, I'm a specialist in this." So now it gets them in the door. Well, students may decide to do that, and a lot of those students may think, they may not have thought that education was really in the cards for them, but they do that. Some of them think, you know what, this was not so bad. I can do this. So they may continue on. So using the expressway analogy, keep on going down the road a little bit further, get an associate degree. We do offer some bachelor's degree, but we have many articulation agreements and transfer agreements with all the colleges in the DFW, certainly across Texas.
Sure.
So they can start with us. get their certification, get their associate degree, then transfer off to a 4-year degree if they choose to do that, or they can immediately enter the workforce and start making a meaningful paying job that, again, as I said before, higher education is transformative. So
I
they're
love that. The sector right now, I mean, you're bending, maybe breaking some of the rules. The sector tracks completion. It celebrates certificates and degrees, but as you're focused now on your employer base and the partnerships out there. They don't care about credentials on the wall.
mm,
They care about the person carrying, you know, whether they can walk in and do the work.
yeah,
And you've sat at the policy table.
I hear you.
Um, and that policy table is one that is saying we must close the gap and close it quickly. So
Absolutely.
you've got a number of different strategies. I'll use your kind of roadway analogy again, just to get people on the road and making the decisions that they need to be making. Now you're running a campus that's supposed to close it for North Lake students, those gaps, and, and you're seeing the evidence.
Mhm.
And you're seeing that evidence is actually working, not
Absolutely.
the strategy. Let's talk about some more of the things that have actually moved.
Mhm.
Hey friends, quick question before we get back to it. I know that you have talented people on your leadership team, but is your team actually performing to its full potential? Most aren't, and most don't know why. The Team Intelligence Assessment is a solution to change that. Find out where your team stands at higherperformancegroup.com. Go to find your starting point to get started today, or click the QR code in the screen right here. All right, back to the show.
Well, I think what we're seeing move is the number of students who are actually graduating and immediately getting jobs. We had a job fair, construction career fair, just a couple of days ago. It was this week, and we had it was over 200 students in attendance. We had 34 employers there, and this was the first time that we were about all sectors of the construction industry. So we had general contractors, we had electricians, we had roofers, we had welders, we had them all together in one room. And the numbers are still coming in. But that day, the next day, I was told, Dr. we had 5 students who got jobs.
Wow. That's what we're talking about.
That,
That's what we're talking about.
so that's proof that the concept works, bringing industry and post-secondary together to work together. Because this is not something that we can solve alone in the post-secondary sector. It's not something that industry can solve alone. I mean, I was in my healthcare days, we were always recruiting nurses. There was an extreme nursing shortage. We did everything that we could to try to figure that out ourselves. So fast forward to working for the Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education, my mentor, Dr. Aaron Thompson, who is the head of higher education in Kentucky, he had the idea of developing a economic development workforce department and tapped me to lead that department. So that was my first experience of really bringing the industry together at the table to partner with our curriculum designers, partner with our presidents of post-secondary, of colleges, et cetera, in the same room to say, okay, what are the problems? What are the barriers? Are we teaching the right type of curriculum? And hearing from them, because again, having that discussion, we had some of the employers say, it's great. They're graduating with a degree, and then we get them, we have to retrain them because what you're teaching, we
Mhm.
haven't done that in 10 years. So when you put folks together to help remove the barriers and talk about the opportunities, you'll discover that hey, that's working. That yields the like I just said, the number will increase, but 5 jobs out of one little job fair immediately. That is
Fantastic.
impactful. That's changing
Fantastic.
lives.
So, you've got a lot of things you're reclaiming a lot of needed momentum right now. But some days when you pop out of bed, you might have some things on your mind that just aren't working the way that they should be working. What are you trying to fix right now? What's front of mind as you celebrate some commencement, but then go into planning and retreat season now for a bit?
Sure. I think it's process. How do we make it as easy as possible for students or prospective students to navigate this very complex higher education industry that we're in? So, especially my passion point is reaching those people that really thought that higher education or getting a college degree wasn't necessarily in the cards for them. So, how do we reach them and then help them navigate our system from registration to
Mm.
picking a major to attending the first class. What do I do? Because it's all very foreign to a lot of people. So I think that, Dallas College and my colleagues were really trying to make that process as smooth as possible. We have a lot of, FTIC, first time in college students that are starting, first generation students that are finding their way to us through our various efforts, through speaking opportunities, through our course. We have a great marketing department that's talking about these things to get them in the door. But what do we do once we get them in the door? As you said, it's graduation season. So we're going to be graduating a number of students, but that cycle continues. So 2 weeks from now, we're going to have our first orientation for new students. So the whole new batch is
Oh,
coming in. So how do we
take a
make
breath, get a sip of water. Here we go.
cheers? Uh-oh.
So, community colleges have a perception problem. You talk about your marketing and just how you are, getting that narrative out there. It
Sure.
predates all of us,
It does.
right? And it will outlast your presidency. We're not going to fix all. It's where you go when you can't get to somewhere else. I
Yes,
mean, it's just that old narrative. The narrative, it's embedded in American culture.
it
Um,
is.
but I've seen just little wrinkles of change, and you're running a campus that has to fight every single enrollment cycle.
Absolutely.
How do you lead inside that national story that is actively working against maybe a number of the students that you're working to serve now? How
Sure.
are you changing that message?
I think the proof is getting our students out there, showing some of those results, letting them tell their story. Again, our marketing department and all throughout all the campuses, I think we do a good job of that. For an example, is this: I was at an event last week where we had some of our alumni that come back and they talk about their experience and where they are right now. So things like that are starting to change that narrative that community college is less than. It is certainly not. I tell people all the time. Again, I have really two passion points.
Mm,
I mentioned my passion about HBCUs because I think that they do a really good job of meeting students where they are and providing the service they need to really get competitive and to take that journey through higher education and community colleges for the very same reason. So again, we'll talk about one of my books. I have a book that talks about implementing the two things, but having that passion point. So I tell folks all the time, if you don't have my 4 year presidents in colleges may be a little upset with me. This may not be a popular statement I'm going to make, but I'll make it anyway.
here we
If,
go.
if you don't have a academic or athletic scholarship to one of the 4 years, I think one of the most wise investments that you can make is start at a community college where you can have a lot less tuition. We have $99 a credit hour. I mean, I defy anyone to try to beat that. And the curriculum, the study is absolutely top notch. So start, mature, find yourself, find what it is you want to do. Get all your first 2 years, get all the general studies out of the way, and mature emotionally and physically, and understand what it is you want to do. And again, as I said, at Dallas College and many colleges around the country start to implement this, is implementing that workforce process into the journey. So you can get your 2 year degree and then decide, okay, do I want to enter the workforce immediately, or do I want to transfer to to a 4 year college or university? So our 4 year college and universities around us, and we have great relationships with them. We've got these articulation agreements and transfer agreements that it's seamless, that, right up front, you may get even accepted at this 4 year, but you only did the first 2 years at Dallas College, and then all your credits will transfer. So that stackable credentials, it's an amazing thing because again, even for, as I talked about, those first generation students, those ones that are first time in college that don't know that necessarily this was for them, that are just learning that, okay, I can compete at this level, to get in the door and then know that they have not only a starting point, but they have an ending point for their academic journey, and then they'll have a pathway to a meaningful paying job.
My mind thinks like billboards, just real pithy, just like when the weight hits the ground, it has impact. It's the start with us because basically this is the percentage of people in our community that come back to us,
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
Just use some common sense. And it's just those bold messages that say we're kind of the place to be for you. So let me ask maybe one more question, and then we'll get into a lightning round here. I would imagine your phone rings periodically from colleagues near and far, asking about some of the things that you got. You're building a lot of very, very innovative things, and again, results based. What you are what you're building, you're not just dreaming about it, you're actually putting it into practice. So what are people calling you? What questions are they having? And what are they trying to steal? What ideas and models are they trying to steal from you right now?
I think it's the, how are we implementing putting the industry in the driving seat of developing academic pathways? Because that's new. I had the pleasure of attending, being a participant in the Harvard New Presidents Program last year. So we had new presidents literally from around the country, and it was great. The formal process was great, but where I really found great value
Mm.
was the water cooler conversations I had with these presidents from around the country, excuse me, around the world, because we had
Yeah,
folk,
yeah.
some from other countries there, having conversations, and there was a lot of conversation about Dallas College, our model of putting industry in the front seat with us, and helping develop curriculum. How are you doing that? What's the impact? What are the benefits that you're seeing? How are students receiving it? How is the industry
How's
reacting?
the internal power dynamics receiving it? You taught
Absolutely.
the truth.
Because again, if you think about higher education, starting in Harvard back in the 1800s, we've not changed a lot. A lot of the same things that we did back then, we do now. And we are the higher academic folks and post-secondary folks, and we know how to do this. Well, let's listen to some industry partners that say, okay, that's wonderful, but we're retraining some of your folks when they get out of school. That we need to take note of that. So
Yeah.
putting them along with us to help design, and then even more importantly, to give our students experience while they're matriculating through their academic process is very, very important because again, you're getting that experience, you're getting the degree, but you're also getting experience. So you're more marketable when you get out of school. And many of our students are getting hired on the spot. Because again, if they go through and they do some type of internship or externship program through an employer, the employers are smart. They're thinking, you know what, this person is sharp. Let me go and grab them up now.
I
so
think
they're
that
so they're
idea
graduating with a job.
that idea in itself, you're busy right now, but I think just talking about some of the things that you've been doing to melt the walls between your industry partners and get them to the table,
Mm.
not just driving, but they're at that decision-making table with you. I think that's gonna be worth a few more phone calls coming your way. And I know you got a split, so we're gonna go to the lightning round, my
You're
friend.
okay.
Let's get to the lightning round. This is where we make you, the superhuman leader, a bit more human, a
Oh
bit
my
more
goodness
human. So
gracious,
here
what's
we go.
coming?
First
Okay.
question, Doc. What's a quote that you live by?
A quote that I live by, probably, and I'm going to have it right here because I'm going to read it because I don't want to mess it up because it's on my signature page in my email. As I said, I'm a military person. I was a big fan and remain a big fan of Colin Powell. My father had the opportunity to meet him.
Mhm.
My father served in the Air Force. So the quote is, and this is how I was raised: there are no secrets to success. It's the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure throughout my career. Yes, I've had some successes, but I've had some failures. Things that's like, okay, I'm going to learn from that one. So those things
So
I
good.
build upon, and it's helped shaped me. So I put that in my email signature, and I hope everyone reads it when they get an email from me because it's something that I live by.
There it is. How about worst advice that you've ever received about leading people?
I learn a lot from leaders. I've had some really good leaders. I've had some leaders that, in my opinion, weren't the best. And those leaders that I saw necessarily weren't the best kind of put the organization, the company first. And
Mm,
let me explain that before I get all the bad emails. I have found if you put the people first, they'll take care of the organization.
so good.
So really try to lead into making sure that our people, our faculty, in this case now, our faculty, our staff are well taken care of and they're heard. We listen to them. We can't always do what they want, but listen to them and implement what we can. And if we do that, they will be happier, they'll work harder, they'll take care of our students, and the organization will thrive.
I think you just answered the second question. So the best advice that you've ever actually adopted to put into
Mhm.
practice in leading people.
And that's people first.
That's it.
People first. That's what it is. You just have to take care of the folks who are taking care of the folks.
Do you,
Take care of
do
the
you
people, take care of our students.
do you have any unpopular opinions that you're holding and defending?
I, well, something that comes to mind right now is I was speaking to I mentor a lot of people, and I mentor this group of young men, and we were talking about dress, uh,
Mm,
and some folks they came into the meeting, they had Crocs on, A young man had shorts on and thinking, you know what? You're coming to a meeting with me. This is a mentor opportunity to talk about careers. I need for you to dress where you're, for where you're going, not for where you are.
Right
Oh, well,
there.
Dr. Smith, it's just, it's just where this the meeting says I'm here with my boy. That's great. But you never know. You don't know who I'm bringing to this meeting. You don't know my connections. And if you come here and you show up like you say you want to be a college president one day, well then dress like you think a college president should dress. Is that the attire, or should you come here with at least some nice pants and an iron shirt on with your shirt tucked in? So that's not popular with a lot of people. However, I still stand by that, is dress for not where you are, but dress for where you're going. Something my parents taught me, something that I continue to echo and share with folks that I have conversations with.
And you look very tight today. Hey,
Thank
how
you.
about Whataburger or In-N-Out? What's your
Oh
what's
my
your
gosh.
what's your go-to?
I'm going to say what my sons tell me because I don't eat a lot of red meat. Again, I stick more towards more. I'm not a vegetarian, but the only meat I eat is turkey and fish. But I take my kids, if I say, and my kids, and they're grown men now, but if I say, where do you want to go? It's going to be Whataburger.
There it is, unpaid advertising. How
Yeah.
about, something you changed your mind about recently?
Something I changed my mind about.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I think it's just the whole debate over college and the value of college. And I try to change the narrative. What people say college is. College is post secondary. It's anything after high school. It's anything after the high school. So maybe an unpopular decision when I say, because it irritates me when I hear people say they're not college material.
Mm,
I say that everyone is college material. Then let me explain to you what college is. It doesn't matter if you're going to barber school or nail school, or if you're going to get your HVAC or electrical certification, whatever that is right now. AI, obviously, everyone needs to know AI. Go get a certification in that. Make yourself marketable. This is after high school. Anything that you start is post secondary, it's college. So it may be unpopular when I say that to people, but again, if we don't prepare ourselves for the world of the future, we'll be left behind. Someone told me just the other day that we were having a conversation about AI and AI replacing jobs. And what this person said, and I agree with this, he said AI won't necessarily replace a lot of jobs, but people who know how to use AI, they will replace those
let's
people.
go.
So get
Let's
ahead of the
go.
curve. Absolutely.
Hey, if you weren't running a college, what would you be doing?
I would be sitting on a beach, nice sun, feet in the sand, writing books, and maybe lecturing online, or maybe taking some trips every once in a while, but just relaxing, enjoying life. And I really enjoy writing books because, again, as you said, I've had the pleasure of having an interesting career. I've had the pleasure of having a wonderful upbringing.
Mhm.
So I like to write about it. And if it can motivate others, if it can inspire others to do the best, to be the best they can be, then that's what turns me on. That's what keeps me going. So if I weren't in this position right now, that's probably what I would be doing.
He's not going anywhere anytime soon, but the world's most modern, interesting man has more to write about. How about a word for North Lake's future?
I think Northlake is really unstoppable. There's such a great future with Dallas College as a whole and the campus at Northlake. We have some outstanding faculty, outstanding students who are very resilient. So resilient is one of my favorite words because
Mhm.
that's mean we're adapting to whatever faces us. So being able to do that, so I see Northlake doing that. We've gone through different iterations through our founding back in 1976 to where we are right now, to a standalone college, being part of a district, to now being one college, a campus that's thriving in Irving, Texas, growing. We have nearly 14,000 students, and it's just the future is really just unstoppable.
Well, I usually cap this off with the question that you have for me, but I know that you're running short on time. So, folks, wow, this has been such just a sharp exchange, sharp in terms of just intelligent. And Dr. Rick Smith, you are well placed, my friend. You are very well placed, and I want to thank you for joining us on the show here today.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. Again, we talked about the career, we talked about my books. People can go to Amazon, and if they're interested in getting one of those books, they're available on Amazon. Just type in Dr. Rick Smith. And I'll keep them coming. And hopefully you'll invite me back sometime because I thoroughly enjoy watching your podcast. I enjoy our conversations. They're intriguing and look forward to maybe some in the future.
Well, I continue to learn from you as well. If they want to learn more about North Lakes, is it, I'm not sure what the web address is. Do
It's
you have that?
DallasCollege.org.
There
Excuse
it
me,
is.
DallasCollege.edu. Apologize. DallasCollege.edu. And
.edu.
they can go. We have 7 campuses. They can learn all about our campuses. And then I'm a little partial to the North Lake campus. So they can learn about North Lake and what we're all about there. We are the home of the Blazers.
Go
Uh,
Blazers.
Dallas
Go
College
Blazers. Hey, if
Blazers.
they want to track you down, I
Mhm.
know you are very active on LinkedIn.
I am. They can hit me up on LinkedIn. It's Dr. Rick Smith. I do have a website. It's smithconsulting.solutions. They can kind of see, and if they want to book me for a speaking engagement, they can go to smithconsulting.solutions and hit me up, and I'll respond. And I handle them myself. I don't have anyone else doing that. So when you hear back from anyone hitting
Man,
that website, it will be me.
directly from the man. You are officially excused to get out there and go celebrate with your community. Thanks again, Dr. Rick, and that's the show, folks. Peace and keep your dukes up.